first time your kitten opens their eyes, they can't actually see you. For the first weeks of life, you're nothing but a warm blur, presence, a feeling. But somewhere around week 4, you finally come into focus. And that moment, that's what we're talking about today. Everyone celebrates eye-opening as a milestone. You post photos, you text friends. But here's what nobody tells you. Your kitten's eyes are technically open, but their entire visual system is running on ancient cat software that takes months to fully install. So what's actually happening behind those cloudy blue eyes? Here's the part that surprised even researchers. Kittens raised in complete darkness actually open their eyes faster than kittens raised in normal light conditions. Today I'm going to explain the 3 invisible barriers between your kitten and clear sight. The first one involves blood, the second involves Nobel Prize-winning research, and the third, it explains why your kitten will be clumsy for months. Every kitten is born with their eyelids literally fused shut. Not just stuck together, actually fused by a thin membrane called ankylobal pharynx. The separation starts around day 7, beginning at the inner corner and slowly working outward. By day 14, most kittens have both eyes fully open. But here's where it gets interesting. Research suggests paternity plays a significant role in determining when those eyelids separate, alongside factors like maternal age and kitten sex. Light and warmth matter less than you might think. Female kittens tend to open their eyes slightly earlier than males. But here's where it gets strange. Even after those eyelids separate, your kitten is essentially looking through a red curtain. In the first weeks after birth, an extensive network of blood vessels still covers the lens. It's a living veil that needs to exist because it's feeding the developing lens the nutrients it needs. It sounds like something out of Stranger Things. This vascular network gradually retreats, with research suggesting it fully clears around 3 to 4 weeks of age. Think of it like camera firmware installation. The lens cap is off, but the camera is still calibrating. Almost 2 weeks after your kitten's eyes are fully open, there's still a web of blood vessels blocking clear sight. And even after the veil lifts, the real work begins. Your kitten's retinal ganglion cells, the neurons that send visual information to the brain, they're barely online when the eyes first open. At day 5, only a minority respond to light. By day 10, all cells are responding, but it takes until day 18 before they reach adult threshold values. And here's a Nobel Prize connection. In 1981, David Hubel and Wiesel won science's highest honor for their research on kitten visual development. They proved that if kittens don't receive visual input during a critical window, they never develop vision, ever. It's not just eye development, it's brain development. The visual cortex literally requires input to wire correctly. So let's put this together. Day 7 to 14, eyelids separate. Around week 4, the lens clears. But the really surprising part, the retinal oscillatory potentials, which are markers of how mature the eyes are that indicate complete development, they don't reach adult values until 18 weeks of age. That's over 4 months. Your 8-week-old kitten, the age when most go to new homes, they're still running incomplete visual software. If this is making sense so far, hit subscribe, because we're about to get practical. Now let's talk about what this means for you. Here's your kitten vision timeline. Day 1 to 7, sealed shut, and that's completely normal. Don't worry, don't touch. Day 7 to 10, you might see a tiny slit appear at the inner corner. Don't touch it. Day 10 to 14, both eyes should be fully open. But remember, open doesn't mean seeing. Day 11, your kitten can start to follow motion, but everything is blurry and depth perception doesn't exist yet. Week 3 to 4, depth perception begins developing. This is when they start judging distances. Badly at first, which is why kittens are adorably clumsy. Week 8 and beyond, functional vision approaches adult quality, though the most advanced visual processing continues developing for several more months. Here's what should concern you. Eyes not open by day 14 to 16, it's time for a vet check. Swelling behind those closed eyelids, that's ophthalmia neonatorum, an infection that needs immediate treatment. Discharge, crustiness, redness, vet. And the most important rule, never ever try to pry open kitten eyelids. I've seen well-meaning rescuers on video cause permanent damage because they thought they were helping. You can cause corneal drying, keratitis, and permanent ulcers. The membrane dissolves on its own schedule. Forcing it causes lasting harm. Speaking of that schedule, here's the part that surprised researchers for decades. Kittens raised in complete darkness open their eyes earlier than kittens raised in normal light conditions. It's counterintuitive. You'd think light exposure would matter, but the 1984 study tracked 158 kittens and found the opposite. The study found that darkness during the eyelid separation period doesn't delay the lid opening, but this should not be confused with later visual deprivation, which research still shows can cause temporary or permanent damage. The takeaway? You don't need to dim the nursery. You don't need to black out curtains. Nature has been running this program for thousands of generations. Your job isn't to optimize it, it's to not interfere with it. One more thing people always ask is, why are all kittens born with blue eyes? The blue you see isn't actually pigment, it's light scattering off an unpigmented iris. The same physics that makes the sky blue. It's called Rayleigh scattering. Melanocytes start migrating to the iris around 6 to 7 weeks, producing the melanin that creates green, gold, copper or brown eyes. The process typically completes between 12 to 16 weeks. Unless they're Siamese or Ragdoll or Burman, those breeds keep blue eyes forever. So let's go back to that moment, the one everyone celebrates. Your kitten's eyes open for the first time. Now you know what's really happening inside. The blood vessels clearing, the neurons wiring, the brain building its visual map. Your kitten isn't seeing you, not yet. They're sensing warmth, responding to sound, orientating towards your voice. But somewhere around week 4, everything changes. The veil lifts, the focus sharpens, and for the first time, your face comes into focus. Not just warmth, not just sound, you. That's the moment they really see you, and it's worth understanding. We go this deep on every topic. If you want to understand the biology behind everything your cat does, subscribe and hit the bell. Your cat is lucky to have someone who wants to understand them this well. See you next time.